The food pyramid. It's taught to us in elementary school. It's supposed to be about healthy eating. But even back when I was young, they were getting it wrong. As you can see here, they're equating butter and margarine. And I see here canned veg being equated with fresh. But can I just help you guys to see that it's actually getting worse? We find keto because we're overweight and sick. And we rarely ask why we're overweight and sick. That slide was from the 1950s, right? Fast forward today, somehow we've come to believe that it's just normal to get fat as we age. Wellness warrior. And have you noticed how sickly we've actually become? Allergies, eczema, asthma, blood pressure, diabetes. So many health problems are affecting us at younger and younger ages. It used to be that weight gain would start happening for us ladies after we had our children. Well, men too, for some reason. They seem to gain weight around the same time. But today, our teenagers and even preteens are overweight and pre-diabetic. There's a real problem that needs to be addressed here. And the answer is clear. We have to eat healthy food. I want to show you how to see through the lies of the food pyramid, because keto and carnivore are real solutions to our health crisis, but it clashes with the mainstream ideas about what is healthy. What are these ideas based on? Like, I want us to really take a good look at the current or most recent food pyramid that I could find. Our food guide is encouraging us to eat foods that cause weight gain and poor health. Like, do we see that at the top of this food pyramid, sugary drinks and sweets are on the pyramid at all? Why? That's shameful. That sugary, sweet, like, why do they need to tell us that we should be having small amounts of that? First of all, that they're saying have them sparingly encourages people to believe that they should be having them. That's shameful. They should not even be. This is the food pyramid of healthy things for us to be eating. That shouldn't be there. And by the way, the fact that red meat and butter are at the same level as sweets, rice, and potatoes and pasta, sorry. It's as if we have no clue what healthy food is. Why is alcohol even on the pyramid? And it's saying it's not for everyone. Is it for anyone? Should any person actually be having alcohol in a healthy diet? I'm not talking about any junk that you want to have. When we are talking about what's healthy for the human body, why is alcohol on the list at all? And then they say most people should be taking multivitamins. Why would anyone need to take a multivitamin if they're eating a healthy diet? So if my food intake is proper and healthy, then I should not need to take a multivitamin. I feel like we don't understand. This is supposed to be telling me what to aim for, Wellness Warrior, and it has things on here that I shouldn't be aiming for. This is the point I'm trying to make right now. This food pyramid is encouraging us to prioritize things like corn oil, canola oil, vegetable oil over butter and animal fat. Right? Look at where those oils are on the level. So the larger the section, the more we should be having it. Can we pause and understand that the food pyramid is actually trying to tell me that the fats that we invented within the last 200 years are healthier than the fats that we were eating for the 190,000 years that we've been on this planet in this current form. Does that make sense to any of you, Wellness Warrior? Because it doesn't make any sense to me at all. No sense at all. I don't get it. I'm making this video today as a plea to every wellness warrior to think about the future, because we are in a very important moment right now, right? There's there are people talking about keto and carnivore who are actually trying to heal our population. They want good for us. And then there are people who talk about keto and carnivore because they can profit. In the last 4 years, I've been seeing more keto labeled products in grocery stores than I don't know that I ever saw a keto labeled product in a grocery store before 4 years ago here in Canada, ever. But the problem is these products have questionable ingredients and the carb counts don't make any sense if you're trying to do a keto lifestyle. And somehow people are buying them. Why are people buying them? Well, it's because apparently keto is an easy way to lose weight quickly. People are looking at keto as a diet. People are trying to do keto because it's convenient, easy, quick, gonna speed up my process of getting. Here's the problem, Wellness Warrior. If we keep letting them convince us that the best answers are the easy answers, we will keep struggling. How many people right now are confident that keto and carnivore are the answer? They're confident, but then go to a party or a gathering of some kind and eat off plan because junk food was present. What I need you to understand is that if we think something is easy, then it messes with us. Because easy is eating like everyone else. Easy is being part of the crowd. Easy is saying yes. If we think that something is easy, then we think that I shouldn't have to struggle at all to do it. And here's what's interesting. Eating junk food is easy. They've made it easy. Everybody has junk food. Every restaurant has the junky option. There's always the junky possibility. So I go to the party. I know that healthy is right, but I eat the easy thing because that's what the person put out. So I ate it. Good health is not about easy, Wellness Warrior. Good health is about eating real food that fuels the body and builds your body. And it does it correctly so that your body can actually heal. We are suffering poor health because junk food builds a junk body. We are suffering poor health because seed oils are inflammatory. Sugar is inflammatory. Our body is not built to have, well, first of all, to ever have seed oils and all these fake oils that we've been eating that we created in the last 200 years. But more importantly, our body was never meant to have sugar be its primary leading energy source. Its primary, so vegetation be its primary protein source. That was never meant to be the situation, Wellness Warrior. That's a new invention, right? These processed foods are new inventions. Good health takes the same physical energy to carry out today in this world, right? Eating a cookie and eating a steak takes the same process. I buy that food and then I eat it. Well, maybe the steak, I have to cook it. So if I'm making cookies at home, let's say I'm home baking my cookies, this takes the same energy. The time and energy I invest in making some cookies and eating them versus cooking some meat and eating it, same investment, Wellness Warrior. But the benefit to your body is so dramatically different. We are causing health problems when we eat pasta instead of eating meat. When we eat rice and vegetables and have those vegetarian days instead of eating meat, our body is looking for animal products. So it takes the same amount of physical energy for a lot of the meals we're making at home. We can make a healthy one versus, but the intention is so different. When I'm eating healthy, my mind is focused on doing what is good for my body rather than doing what is easy, because the extra little bit of money that I might spend on the meat versus the cheap, ridiculously cheap. Why is pasta so cheap? Why is rice cheap? Why are vegetables that are supposed to be so healthy for us cheaper than meat? If they're so healthy for, okay, so these things that we invest a little bit more money into, but once you get it home and you're cooking it, not that hard. Now, will I say that I have to take better care of my meat, my poultry, my fish, I have to take better care of it? I can't just bring my meat home and leave it on the counter for days like I can with pasta. Has anybody stopped to wonder why that is? These fake foods don't spoil. They're highly profitable to the companies that make them, which is why they can sell them so cheap. Because when they processed your pasta into those little fun shapes that we all love, they can sit in a warehouse for how long before they sit on a grocery store shelf for how long, uh, until they sit into our closet, our cupboards in the kitchen, in the pantry for how long before we turn around and eat them. And nobody is questioning that. Interestingly, if we take vegetation that's fresh, or we take animal products and we leave them on the counter, we can't leave them on the counter that long. They spoil. They actually go bad. Real food goes bad, Wellness Warrior. I'm getting off topic, but it makes me angry. It makes me angry. Your intention for your body matters. Am I trying to do what's good for me, or am I trying to do what's easy? When we're focused on eating healthy, our interactions with our world changes. Because rather than timidly begging for accommodations, please, oh my goodness, I want to come, but how am I going to survive at this event when everybody's, we actively state our requirement to participate. This summer, my uncle had a barbecue, and I called him and verified that he would set aside some chicken that he salted and didn't put anything else on. I just wanted barbecued chicken. So on the barbecue, but just salt. That's it. And guess what he said? No problem. That's easy. That's what he said. Simple. Because it's simple. Your family and friends want you to be involved. They want you at the events. They care for you to be there. They don't care what you eat. They want you to eat if it's an eating event, but they don't care what you eat. We are making this bigger than it ever needs to be. Wellness Warrior, they can't accommodate you if you don't even ask. We arrive at events and behave like asking for some meat that's cooked slightly and differently and less. It's less. What I asked for was less, not more. If I went to an event and all I wanted was meat with salt. That's less work, not more. Now, I asked early enough so that he could pull out a few pieces before he seasoned for everybody else, right? It was myself and Pat that were eating that way, two people. Everybody else, he was able to just do whatever he was doing. Your family is your safe testing ground, Wellness Warrior, because they care about you and they want you to be there. They love you. You need to get comfortable asking for accommodations at home so that you can feel comfortable making requests when you go to restaurants, when you're on vacation, when you're at work, and all the other places that they don't know you and not focused on what you're having to do, what how you're trying to heal yourself. You may not want there to be junk food in your house at the very beginning when you're trying to learn how to do keto and carnivore, and you're the only person doing it. I was the only person doing it. And for that first month, I didn't buy any of at least any junk that I knew I would eat. But I'm going to take this a step further because if I wasn't so motivated based on the pain I was living in my hip, maybe I would have needed to ask. Well, ask. I mean, at the time my daughter was 9. Maybe I would have informed her that for the next month, I'm not buying any junk food. There's not going to be any junk food in the house for 1 month to give me time to organize myself. First of all, would that have been a big deal to my daughter? I'm lucky. No, that wouldn't have been a big deal to my daughter. She didn't eat that much junk. It wasn't something that she had daily. And add to that, every single day, my daughter went to my mother's house after school. There's junk there. Was she going to suffer because there's no junk in my house for 1 month? No. But if it was the case that my house was the only place that she had access, I would have done it anyways, Wellness Warrior. And here's why. My good health benefits her. And I know that a little month of discomfort, if it was uncomfortable for her, if it would have been, wouldn't have been as important as me figuring this out. And when the junk started coming back into the house, if the junk started coming back into the house by that point, it would have been fine. Now, I could tell you it would have come back into the house because when I started this process, I didn't have all the data that I have right now. But your family's going to accommodate you because whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse, they want you healthy. And if this is going to help you to get healthy, having no junk in the house for a month or two is not as bad as not having you in the house. When the month or two is over and you're feeling more confident, again, your family is your testing ground. Start reintroducing single serving options into the house. Oh, this kid likes these kind of cookies. Buy a single serving at the checkout so that the kid can have some cookies. It's not enough for you to feel that you would indulge with them. It's a single serving. They're going to eat it. They're going to have their stuff, and you're going to be able to see that I can be around junk food and not be bothered. We need to give ourselves the ability to succeed if we want to succeed all over the place. If I don't succeed anywhere, how can I succeed everywhere? And that's what we need to be able to do to succeed everywhere. Because if I'm putting my health first, if I'm understanding that the food that I eat actually builds the body that I'm living in, of course, it only makes sense, Wellness Warrior, that I'm going to eat that food. If I'm trying to heal something, I'm going to eat that food. If I'm trying to build a healthy version of me that's at the right weight, I'm going to eat the healthy food when I understand that it's the unhealthy food that's harming me. So my family is eating small amounts of junk around me. They're not offering me any because they know better. They know what I'm trying to accomplish. By the way, this idea that it's polite to offer somebody something when you know that that's not polite. That's just rude. I personally find it rude for you to offer me something that you know that I'm trying not to have, first of all. But second of all, if I've told you that I don't eat cookies, and every time you're having cookies, you're offering me cookies, you're also telling me that you don't care to remember what I like and don't like. Because even if I still ate junk food, I just don't like cookies, would you offer me cookies if you know I just don't like cookies? No, you'd stop. So let's put down this idea that it's polite to offer people junk. You're doing it for whatever reason is in your mind, whether you're trying to sabotage me, and if that's what you're doing and you're a family member, shame on you, or you think that what I'm doing is not like I don't really want to be doing it. You think I'm not as committed to it as I am, which still would be a form of trying to sabotage me. Don't do that. If you're my family member, you shouldn't be doing. If you're my friend, you shouldn't be doing that. And if you're a person out in the wild, I'm going to accept that you're going to offer me that because you think it's polite. And when I say no, accept my no, because it's hard enough to say no. Easy. We've been trained to do what's easy, right? It's there, we eat it. We're trained to do that. When I actually say no, whether in my own head, no, thank you, that's not healthy, or no to you when you've accept my no because it's real. It's real. And when I'm good around my family and they can eat whatever they want and I'm not bothered, guess what happens? I'll be good out in the world. See, that's the thing that's really interesting. You're around your family more than you're around almost anybody else, right? Because they live in the same house with you. And if you don't get bothered by them eating whatever they're eating, if you don't get bothered by those cookies that are baking in the oven, and you can smell that smell and even enjoy that smell, because I'll tell you, fresh baked cookies smell good. Fresh baked bread smells good. Like, it's not that it doesn't smell good. I still can smell. But does it smell tasty? No, it doesn't smell tasty to me anymore. That has long left me because when I eat that garbage, I don't feel good. Tangent again. Back to the food pyramid. We need to understand that our body thrives on real food. Meat, fish, poultry, and eggs are the building blocks of our body that we need to eat daily. Therefore, that is real food. Pause here for a second. And matter of fact, hit the subscribe button for that one, because this is the kind of information that I plan to give you guys moving forward. Real food is what builds a healthy body. Any vegetation that we eat, we are eating for fun. You don't need to eat it. Your body makes all the carbohydrates that you need. So they tell us so that's the reason we need to eat it. It's not even true. And then vegetation, the proteins and fats that you think you're getting, and phytonutrients that they like to call it, so the chemicals that you think you're getting out of vegetation. First of all, most of the chemicals block us from getting the proteins and any other nutrients that our body that are in there that could be useful to our body. Many of the chemicals, the phytochemicals, block us from getting them, by the way. But then even if we eat a vegetable that has fewer chemicals in them and we're able to access some of those nutrients, we only get them at 40 to 50%. Whereas meat, fish, poultry, eggs, you get them at full capacity, Wellness Warrior. When you only eat meat, fish, poultry, eggs, it's amazing how little time you spend in the bathroom, because your body is able to pull all those beautiful nutrients out of the animal food that you are giving it. They have us so programmed to do the wrong thing. And the problem is our children are being programmed, right? Because they're teaching our kids that vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and seed oils are to be eaten in more abundance than animal protein. Why am I saying that? Look at this food pyramid. Do we see where those things are located? Vegetables, fruits, healthy fats, and whole grains are at the lower level to fish, poultry, and eggs. And then fish, poultry, and eggs are at the same level as nuts and seeds and tofu. So they're telling our kids that they are equivalent. They are not equivalent. They are not equivalent. And even worse, dairy, red meat, and butter and salt are actually being demonized, wellness warrior. They're at the very tippy top. You're supposed to have the least amount of that stuff, despite the fact that they are very healthy, despite the fact that salt, first of all, every single cell in your body needs salt because every single cell in your body has sodium potassium pumps. If you don't have salt and potassium, so sodium potassium in the right combination, your body's not going to work properly. And they have it demonized. Butter is a healthy fat. What is our brain made of, wellness warrior? What are all of our cells made of, wellness warrior? Animal fats. But somehow we're not supposed to have butter because it's saturated. Now, Dr. Eid helped me to understand that butter is one of the few saturated fats. If you eat the fat that came on the actual animal, so if we stop trimming all that fat off and actually start eating it, yes, we're building the healthiest version of ourselves possible with that fat. But it's demonized. Heaven forbid that I use tallow or lard to cook. No, I absolutely need to use tallow and lard and bacon because they're healthy, because it's going to build my body, build my brain, feed myself the better quality energy so that I'm not adding excessive amounts of carbohydrates. When my body makes them, my body makes the right amount. When I eat them, I'm always overdoing it because I don't need to eat any. Can we just understand that? I don't need to eat any. The next generation is going to suffer if we don't break free from these lies that animal protein and animal fats are unhealthy. When my health was good, wellness warrior, when I figured all of this out, my hips stopped hurting me, and my body started feeling good, I just wanted to talk about keto all the time. Keto, 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 keto. Every person that was in front of me, keto, keto, keto. And I had good intentions, right? Same way that there are a lot of people that see me eating the way that I'm eating, and they're coming in right away with, oh my goodness, you're going to have a heart attack and all this. They truly believe that information. But let me let you know this. By the time that I went carnivore, I realized that people don't change their diet because you tell them to change their diet. They don't change because keto is healthier. That's not why they're going to do it, or carnivore is healthier. People change their diet because they have a problem to solve. And the issue that I have with waiting till there's a problem to solve. So I'm making this video, even though I know that you're probably not going to do anything until you have a problem to solve, because I hope you're going to see this video and understand that by the time you feel pain, the damage is so large that the uphill battle that you now have, it's crazy. By the time that you're excessively overweight, if you're obese, again, your body has been struggling for so long. And I want us to start eating healthy because it's healthy. I want us to stop eating for entertainment because eating for entertainment isn't helping you, and it isn't even entertaining you in the way that you think. And I don't want to start a new topic, so I'm not going to start talking about cravings in this video. I'll make another one. But you're chasing, wellness warrior. You think you love eating for fun. You think, I hate this term foodie. There's a lot of terms that I'm like starting to really dislike. Foodie is one of them because it gives people the impression that eating for entertainment is something that we should ever be doing, and it isn't. Yes, you should enjoy your meal because anytime you do something good for yourself, you should enjoy that. But planning vacations around food, planning parties just so you can have food, being bored and eating food, and I'm just using the word food there, but a lot of the times it's garbage, it's junk, it's sugary, and high carbohydrate food does not have to taste sweet. A poutine, which is a bunch of French fries with gravy and cheese, is a very sugary product, even though it tastes savory. We have found ways to infuse sugar into everything. And now our food is just a plate or bowl full of sugar. Cereal that we give our children in the morning, a bunch of sugar to go and try to learn. Their brain needed clean energy. Instead of giving this kid bacon and eggs, oh my goodness, we're worrying about the cholesterol. We're sending them off to school with sugar, which impedes their ability to learn because they're hungry. Their body jumped in and very quickly put all of that stupid sugar into storage because they didn't need it. They already had enough sugar in the system. And then they're going to get morning snack because these kids are ravenous. And morning snack equals what? More sugar, granola bars, cookies, right? Trail mix and all kinds of stupidity. We don't realize it, that we're just pushing ourselves towards pain faster and faster because we're eating all the wrong things. We don't change until the pain is there. The pain is there because we are suffering because we're feeding our bodies the wrong things. And that pain can be emotional or physical, by the way. I had physical pain, right? My hip was hurting, but I had emotional pain. Can I point out that I didn't like being fat? I didn't like not being able to buy clothes easily when I went to the store. I didn't like the looks that I got from people. Hell, my gosh, whenever I was trying to do something. The funny thing is that even though I was, by definition, obese, I still rode my bike. I still went for longboard rides with the kids. I still rode scooters. I still did a lot of fun things. And then the looks I would get. And I know what they were thinking. Oh, maybe she's trying to lose weight. No, I wasn't. I had long given up on trying to lose weight. I was trying to live my life. The pain can be emotional, wellness warrior. And let me add to that sometimes what your body does with the sugar, the over sugar that you're eating, the seed oils that are messing with us, sometimes what's happening is that it's causing inflammation that then messes with my mind, because those problems that are happening in my body impact my hormones. All the inflammation, all the from the seed oils, from the sugar, from the chemicals in the food, because again, it can sit on a counter for years and look the same. That's not normal. Real food spoils. So the chemicals that I'm eating are causing problems, wellness warrior. We end up emotional, whether we get diagnosed with some kind of mental health issue, whether we get diagnosed with some kind of health issue, so we're having a physical problem. We are desperate by the time we're looking for solutions and find keto or carnivore. That's the wrong time to find it. By the time you find keto and carnivore out of desperation, you're willing to do almost anything, which for me was a good thing because maybe I wouldn't have tried this diet. But the problem is, when I'm willing to do almost anything, part one, but then still trained on the idea that keto and carnivore work because they're easy. Keto and carnivore work because it's just so dead simple and it's quick, it's fast. You're going to lose weight like hand over fist. You're going to be 15, 20, 30, 40, 50. No, not everybody's journey is like that. Why? How much damage do you have, Wellness Warrior? We need to understand that your body isn't caring how much you weigh. It's trying to keep you healthy. And if putting those carbohydrates that you keep overeating into storage is going to be healthier for you, it's going to keep doing it. So here's the problem. Going back to everybody is jumping on the keto and carnivore bandwagon. Everybody is trying to profit. We are so desperate by the time we find keto and carnivore, and we so want it to be easy. I want to be skinny yesterday, that we end up in the problem of I eat whatever I'm told to eat, and I don't learn what is it that's actually making keto and carnivore work. I'm going to get pulled down the rabbit hole of keto treats. I'm going to get pulled down the rabbit hole of processed keto products. As soon as I say processed keto products, you should be thinking ding, 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 processed food, ultra processed junk that's only going to harm me. You want real food. This is part of the reason that I'm even annoyed with that first food pyramid or food circle, whatever you want to call it, that had canned foods. Why are we not buying fresh? In today's world, if you have access to fresh food, Wellness Warrior, that is what you should be buying always. If that makes cooking too complicated for you and you don't want to do it, make your recipes simpler. But those real whole foods give you the best possibility that you're going to eat healthy. That is what you need to eat healthy every single day. When we're desperate, those mean, manipulative, profit seeking companies come in and sell us stuff we don't need. Most of the stuff in the grocery store is garbage and shouldn't be eaten. And when I go to grocery stores looking for food, I am always on the outside of the grocery store where the produce and meats, fish, poultry, and eggs live. And that's where I'm encouraging you to be, because that's where the real food is. And I know that you can get pulled in because I once was where you are. I was desperate to heal my hip and I wanted it to be easy, right? That's why I made keto treats, replacement things, right? Because I'm like, I need to feel like everybody else. And because easy is feeling like everybody else. I'm not sure if I made that clear. When we feel like the crowd, that's easier. We just fit in. Nobody's spotlighting on the food that Violet's putting in her mouth. That's comfortable. Oh, you're only eating meat? You're not going to have any vegetables? What drives me crazy is that when I was doing standard diet, I did not eat vegetables. But I could sit there with a burger and fries. Nobody had a comment. I could sit there with pizza with nothing else, just 3 slices of pizza. Nobody had a comment. I could sit there with pizza and fries. Nobody had a comment. I could have rice and meat, and that's it. But somehow, now that I just have meat, well, it's not healthy unless you have vegetables beside. Where were the vegetables before? They weren't on my plate, and nobody seemed to care until I stopped putting the Carbage on my plate. Wellness Warrior, there is evidence that keto and carnivore is healthier than the standard diet. And I know people keep trying to say, we don't have that evidence, we don't have that research, we don't have. I'm going to put it to you that we do. We actually have nope, we have 189,800 years of living on this planet without processed foods and seed oils. And we did not have the obesity and health epidemic that we have today. In the last 200 years, we've introduced all these seed oils, first of all, and processed oils and foods and all of this technology that's pushed us towards this way of eating that's hyper processed. And we have obesity and health problems that were never seen before. That to me is some pretty impressive evidence. Nobody wants to be looking at that. I don't know why. To me, it just seems obvious that we would be looking at that. I'm curious, wellness warrior, because like I said, we don't start until we're in pain, whether it's physical or emotional. Where are you in your health journey? Are you still living in pain? Are you healthy and feeling good? Or on that health journey? That's another thing I want to point out, because we as soon as we feel good, we think we're healthy. I know that I'm not healthy yet, because anytime that I get like a poor quality oil, or like anytime anything comes in that's the slightest bit carbage, my body doesn't do well. My joint pain is so fast to come back. Now, if I consider that when my body was healthy, it took years for me to feel like this, I know that I still have healing to do. So I want to say, remember that it takes 20 years to rebuild our body. Our body's constantly trying to rebuild itself. And the quality that you give it determines how it's rebuilding itself. But it takes 20 years for your body to go through a complete refresh, right? So it's kind of like if you were renovating your bathroom, your house, little by little. You do the bathroom at one point, you do the kitchen at one point, you do the basement at a little by little, that you are renovating your home. That's what it's like. You wouldn't get it done in a year. It would take you years if you just do one piece at a time. Our body wants to be healthy. It's constantly renovating inside. Right? Where are you on your renovation journey, right? Are you just starting, just learning about all this stuff? Are you like 5 years, or I'm 6.5 years in now, right? Have you done 20 years of eating properly? If you have done 20 years of eating properly by this point, like some of the doctors that I follow, please put it in the comments. And by the way, thank you for even watching this video. I appreciate you, because I know that you're watching to support and help other people understand that this is the healthy thing to be doing. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. And you know what? If we want our children to be better than we are, if we want our children to have that healthy life and feel good when they're 30, 40, 50, 90, we need to document where we are, how we got to our healthy place, so that our kids understand. One of the hardest things about all of this is when I started eating properly, sure, I lost weight. Who believed that I would keep it off? I'd lost weight before and put it back on, and lost weight and put it back. It's the normal yo-yo stupidity is what they were all thinking. Sure, yeah, Violet, yeah, you lost weight. Well, now that it's 6.5 years later, yeah, I kept it off. Yeah, I'm documenting, I'm talking about it. But who would have thought that I would have kept it again? We don't know that this is real until we do it. We don't know how amazing we can feel until we're feeling it. So yeah, there was no way for any of my family members to know that this is the time that I was going to do it for real until I did it. And you're going to do it for real and you're going to document it, whether just by taking pictures with your kids and your family and every time you go out and just documenting that I'm at a good weight or I'm getting thinner or I feel better or I'm able to run or jump or I do new things, try new things, right? Yesterday I tried golf, right? I tried it years ago, back when I had joint problems. That didn't go well. And we just went to the driving range because Pat golfs and he just say, Just give it a shot. And it was fun. You can try new things. You can do new things. You can be the healthy person you want to be. We know how bad sugar is for us. And yet, it's the largest part of the food pyramid. Again, it's the largest part. We're pushing people towards diabetes, wellness warrior. Diabetes and all kinds of health problems. As a matter of fact, I have a video that I'm going to link below and in the card that talks about how the way that we eat absolutely is linked to our diabetes. You should check that video out after this. Right, check that out next. And did I switch? Oh, that's interesting. Why am I not switching? Here we go. Wellness warriors, I want to I hope that presentation was help. I want everyone to eat properly and I want our children to eat properly. And so QQQ, I see there's quite a few comments actually. Thank you very much. I want to take a second right off the bat and if I can, just say thank you, a big thank you to my patrons. You guys give me the opportunity, the possibility to do research and take time to make live streams. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. If anybody else would like to help me to do these kind of videos and do more research, there's a link in the description to become a patron. So a channel, patron channel member, or just to donate directly. Which actually, if you donate directly, I get to recuperate all the money and put it right back into making videos, like scheduling time where I don't have to be working to do this kind of thing. So I really do appreciate that. So comments. Then there looks like there are a lot of them. I just want to take a moment right now. I'm going to run through and say hello to everyone who's here. I'm really appreciative of the fact that there's 32 people in here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up for this conversation. It's a really important topic because we need to take note of this moment in history that we're in and help our next generation eat properly and heal their bodies. So, Gradual Legends, hello. My weekend was amazing. Thank you for asking. Hello, Chris. Lo Nelson. I hope I'm saying that. Io Nelson. I'm not sure if that's Lo or Io. But absolutely, I went to the doctor, but they only wanted to put me on cycle of meds. Yeah, we are too quickly pointed towards medication, and unfortunately for me, well, fortunately for me, I will say that in my early life, I was put on medication. And what ended up happening was that I felt so horrible. I just came off of it without permission, which retrospectively I understand was the better thing for me to do. But yeah, so it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because I think that some people need their medication and shouldn't just get off things. I was lucky that I made the right choice. It was not helping me, and I found out later on it could have caused damage. I had trouble with StreamYard listening to your live now. Oh, cool. I'll send you another email and we can talk about that off the stream. Thank you for letting me know. So low, especially white bread. Let's see. Um, I see a lot of companies promoting Carbage and thinking donuts, sweets, and bread is healthy without meat, dairy, and eggs. So there's just too much. Like I think that we're in a time where I remember going to work and giving myself permission to not have breakfast at home because I'll just grab, and at the time I didn't drink coffee, so I'll just grab a hot chocolate and muffin because I had somehow allowed myself to believe that a muffin and a cupcake are different. Today I understand that they're the same thing, right? And as a matter of fact, to be honest, I don't even really like muffins that I didn't like muffins that much, but in my mind, it was a healthier option. It's not a cupcake, right? It's a muffin. It's the same thing, right? And I feel like it's just so interesting how they've tricked us into treating garbage as if it's food. And so you're so right. Um, let's see here. We did not have multivitamins all of our history. I definitely think that the whole everybody should be taking a multivitamin and supplements and whatever. We don't understand again that we're condensing down plants and putting them into our body, and then our body has to deal with that rather than encouraging people to eat real animal products where their body would naturally extract what they need and be able to do with it what it's supposed to without causing damage. Whole regrind grains had two sections. I didn't even notice that. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Whole regrind fains. Let's see. Whole grains. Um, well, you have nuts and seeds, and okay. I the whole thing doesn't make sense to me, regardless. Even no matter how you want to look at it, it's a bunch of food. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Keep it real. Hello. Nice to meet you. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Even in the Bible, God taught Adam head to tail with the first sacrifice, rejected Cain's vegetables and fruits, accepted Abel's meat and fat. There is biblical arguments for 80% meat at least. You know, it's funny that 80% number is showing up again because the doctors keep telling us that 80% of your healthy weight comes from what you eat. 20% is everything else. So that's sleep and exercise and all the fancy things you can do, cold plunges and red light therapy and all the fancy things. And I definitely saunas, like sweating it out and all the things that we do. So I do find it interesting that that 80% number comes up. Thank you for, and I do recall this Cain and Abel story. Someone pointed me to it at another point in time, and it's like the first book, right, of the Bible. It's like one of the first stories when Adam, Eve, and the kids are a family. It's one of the very first stories where we are shown that meat was the priority. So eat like I think that we. I'm going to go on to a Bible thing here, but I think that we understand the Bible incorrectly because when God is telling Adam and Eve like everything that they see is for them, like I wonder if we were to go back to the original way that that was written back in what the first language that it was written in, which I think was Latin, but I don't want to say that out for sure because I'm not sure 100%, but whatever the first language was it was written in, if it actually said anything about trees or if it differentiated or if it just said to Adam and Eve everything that's in this garden is for you, because that still makes sense. Wellness warrior, the animals are eating the plants and then we were eating the animals, makes sense. So and then God making the correction, hello, between Cain and Abel, yeah, it's the meat you're supposed to be having, right? So even God saying, don't eat the fruit from that tree, was it that specific tree, which could have been a reinterpretation over years of like rewriting, or could it have been, don't eat the vegetation from trees, right? Like it just in general, like don't eat vegetation. So these are question marks for me. Unfortunately, I'm not a Bible historian, and like I don't, that's not what I study. So, and it's not a big enough interest of mine for me to go looking for that answer. But these are question marks that I have because I know that people misinterpret things. I know that I could read the same book as my friend, and then when we're talking about that one character, I'm paying total attention on certain elements that they gave in her history to explain why she's doing certain things in the book versus someone else is paying completely different attention to different elements. All that to say, thank you for bringing that forward. um, let's see. So all I need is salt cooked in pure butter for my meat. I really don't need herbs at all. I can tell you, Legends, that one thing that I figured out is that meat with salt cooked in any one of my fats, I love it. So I just salt my meat, and it's funny because now I'm using my fats as spices. So for example, there's always salt. I always put salt on my meat. And then I will either cook it in tallow, or I will cook it in lard, or I will cook it in butter, or I will cook it in bacon grease, or I will mix them. And I found that my favorite is butter and tallow and butter and lard. Butter and bacon, I haven't found that one to be a favorite of mine. And bacon and lard, I would rather just use lard at that point because they're too similar. And I haven't tried actually tallow and bacon because I didn't see the point, but maybe that's something I'll try at some point. But I love the fact that just by, and also adding butter to the other oils, I find can add a crispiness to chicken. So, like if you're trying to do fried chicken and you're not sure how to make fried chicken be crispy without the flour or like putting something else on it, put some butter in there. It's crazy to me how it crisps up your chicken. So here's a that's that. I'll throw that one in there for free. That deserves a like, Wellness Warrior. Hit the like button if you like that one. Yeah. So we're talking to each other. Let's see. Okay. If we have questions, if you put QQQ, that will help me find them as well. Uh, so that seems like a conversation. So, Carnivore at 60 says, I eat 100% meat now and only fatty beef for the last 5 weeks. So you're doing lion diet, you clarify. Okay. Let's see. So I have never tried lamb fat. That's something else for me to put on my agenda because I found a butcher and he does do tallow. So I was able to buy tallow finally. By the way, Wellness Warriors, here in Canada, it is so crazy to me that they will look you straight in the face at the Costco and the bigger stores and just tell you, yeah, no, we can't sell it to you. We have to throw it away. That makes so little sense to me that something that they could be selling to customers, something that customers want, they are refusing to sell and they're just throwing it away. But this is the world we live in over here in Canada. But I'm definitely going to look into that. Oh, so you don't argue over the 10%. 80% beef is what helps me. Histamines kill me. I miss bacon, hot dogs, um, any I can't eat. Okay, so that's really interesting. Well, first of all, I will say I don't miss funny, I don't miss hot dogs. Um, bacon, keep it real. Um, the hard thing about bacon is that sometimes when they make bacon, so when do histamines get created? And I think like what I understood is that Like when you age meat, that's when it gets created. I don't know if it's the same thing as when you like only salt cure if you also get histamines. So this is a big question that I don't know the answer to. You're putting a really interesting, and the reason I'm even talking about salt curing is because I have some, well, I'm trying to make some bacon in the fridge right now, and I'm just salt curing it, which is something that I found when I was looking up bacon. I don't know how it's tasted. I haven't tried it. This is the first time I'm doing it. So maybe next week, because I think I'll be able to cook some today. It's kind of my goal to cook some today. So if it works, I'll let you know. But I don't have a histamine problem personally that I know about. So I don't know if that's going to save you from the histamines, but I would look into that. Like, what would happen if you just bought pork belly, which is what you would do, and instead of using the nitrites, the nitrate powder, and or that special curing salt that they use, those two celery. So it's celery something and a special curing powder. There's two different versions. If you cured it with just salt, like would it still be a problem? So this is, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that you can't keep it long when you cure it this way. So basically, you're curing it to eat it right away, which is for me the healthier thing, and that's why I'm looking into it. I wanted to try it at least once to see like how did it come out, and then if I can make my own bacon, I'm more than happy to do that because to me that's like, yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. That would be a very happy moment from where I'm sitting. So all that being said, I don't know the answer. Sorry about that. I'm trying to think of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Nice. I hate when people like vegans tell me meat is unhealthy, but think soda, vegetable oils, seed oils, and vegan donuts is better for health. First of all, the idea that meat is unhealthy, I still have a hard time wrapping my brain around. I understand vegans who are vegan because they feel sad for the animals. I understand it. I don't advise it, but I understand it. I don't understand people saying that meat is unhealthy. It's what got us to this stage of the game. I get that all the time. People I only eat, who know I only eat meat, offer me all kinds of other foods. My daughter has seen my healings, still insists on calorie and heavy meals, heavy meds from her doctor. I'm helpless to help her. Well, keep it real. One thing that I'll point out, and this is for me been the journey of 6.5 years. As I said earlier in the video, I think that when you stop trying to convince people, the people who are ready will come talk to you. And that's what's been happening. Like, that's why all of you guys are in here right now. You're ready. And maybe you have a few more questions. Maybe you're looking for motivation and you just like the way that I talk about this stuff. Um, I would love it if you find that the way I talk about it is good, if you would share the video, because that actually does help a lot. But I think that when we really know that what we're doing is good, we don't have to push it on other people. So I'll give you the example. Like you came in today and you're talking about the Bible. How often do you try to convince people to read the Bible or to change religion or to become religious or whatever? Like, I honestly feel like when you know something is good for you, you just live it. You don't try to convince anybody on anything. It's like if you don't care to be religious, don't be religious. That's your relationship with God, and you're going to figure that out. And I think that for most of us, we just allow people to have their relationship with God, and we don't worry about it. And I want you to think about it the same way. Is like, I want my daughter to be healthy, so I'm right there with you. My daughter is not keto or carnivore, so I'm in this similar situation as you. But I also know that if I try to force her to do what I'm doing, she's not going to do it. I do know that if I give her updates on what I'm learning, she's interested in learning. I 100% believe that my daughter would feed her children this way whenever she does, if she ever does have children. I think she understands enough what I struggled with. I think she sees enough what's happening around her with the people and family members and whatever, like, and even her own like health things, for the changes that she did make because my daughter um cut back on as the junk food, but it's still there compared to where she had no problem every single day to have every single kind of junk food and didn't really think about it. Although she never was a junk food person to be, so it's like that kind of balance, right? Like she was never high junk eater, but she wouldn't have even blinked at having junk 2 or 3 times a day. I do notice that she'll have it maybe once a day, but her meals are still heavily carb. But I'm talking about real junk now. I'm talking about cookies. I'm talking about, Starbucks or something stupid like that. Like she in the on that front, I find she's being more conscious. Does it mean that she won't have 2 Starbucks drinks in one day? That doesn't mean that at all. But she's more conscious of it. So and I want to be clear that she's not keto. She's not carnivore. She's not even trying to be. She understands the value though. And I think that's why we can have interesting conversations about what I'm doing, what I'm learning, because every single day she sees that I'm still healthy, right? She sees that I haven't fallen back into those painful scenarios that, because she was 9 when I was barely able to walk. She was 9. She saw me struggling to climb the stairs. Thank goodness she was 9. I didn't have to pick her up or anything, but it was hard, right? So it makes a difference. My family do not get the whole carnivore thing also, even though they see it has cured all my health issues. And you lost 186 pounds. That's a complete person. Congratulations on that accomplishment. And you did all of that in 14 months. Oh, thank you. I do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I'm happy for you and dancing right now. I choose life over carb poisoning. You know, we all would choose life over carb poisoning if we understood it was a choice we were actually making. I I still think there's a little bit of my daughter's mind that questions if her situation is that bad because she doesn't feel any pain. I'm going to say this. I say it often. I'm going to say it today. By the time you internally feel pain, you're past the point, right? Our internals don't feel much. That's why they can, shove things into us and be all in here doing stuff and it doesn't hurt because our internals don't have receptors. They don't have pain receptors, right? We feel the thing moving around because our skin can feel that way, right? So, but a lot of the times we don't feel it until we're in such dire strengths. And then what we end up getting, and most people don't even know this, is that our brain sends us a signal of pain, but the actual organ is not sending us a signal of pain. Our brain is reacting and sending us, so you'll have radiating pain in your arm, or we have these things that happen. And it's part of the reason that what happens, like what signals you get of a heart attack could be different for different people, because it's like, what does your brain, what signal do you get that says, hey, problem, hey, so it's amazing that we're waiting for our body to be in pain before we do something, when our body is not going to be in pain until we are at the finish line. Like, oh, this problem exists and we could have solved it before the problem was there. That's why I make these videos. I want us to understand that part. Meat, fruits, and grow. Meat and fruits you grow, or close neighbors grow, I guess is what you're trying to say. Locally, and you harvest in season. The Bible does say that. Isaiah, Psalms, Psalm 31. So locally. Again, I will tell you that interpretation is everything. In Isaiah and Psalms, when they tell you that fruits and vegetables and meats that you're growing, I just question if, because the first people that were on the planet understood that the animals eat the plants and then I eat the animals, even though I'm growing these things, who am I growing them for? So I go back to, we feed our animals that we eat. Should we be feeding them? What should we be feeding them is the question. So are there certain animals that we would have been eating back in those times that would have eaten whatever we were harvesting? It's a question. I, and I'm honestly, the way that I like looking at it this way for one simple reason, because it just allows everything to make the most sense. This isn't about whether or not meat is healthy. It's not even about whether or not we should be growing vegetation. It's just a matter of who should be eating what. And I like looking at it that way because it helps me to be very solid in the thing I keep saying, which is plants are for fun. They won't do us harm immediately. So if I have an apple because that's entertaining to me, yeah, my body will figure that out. Did I just introduce some toxins? Sure, I did, but my body will figure that out if I'm healthy. If I'm having an apple every single day, yeah, I'm not doing myself any favors, right? Because first of all, the average apple is more than 20 grams, and if I have any insulin issues, yeah, that's going to push me over, and then I'm going to have problems. I'm going to have become inflamed. So I feel like if we really pause, it doesn't matter where we're getting the information from. It matters how well we understand the information. If I have inflammation, that means that my body is struggling with any sugar that I eat. And if I have inflammation, and therefore, because inflammation means I have insulin issues, and right, like, and my insulin is gonna go all crazy when I eat any veg, then why would I eat any when my body makes all the carbs that I need? So it's one of those situations where, you know, my bathtub is full right to the brim, like another drip of water, and it's gonna come over. And I have two options now. I can wait and turn on the heater and let some of the water evaporate. And then you're like, okay, now I can, maybe if I want to get in the tub, I can get in the tub. Or I can get in the tub while it's still at brim and turn the pipe on. And I feel like that's what we keep doing. It's like we're already saturated. Our body has all the carbs need. And then we turn the pipe on. That doesn't make sense to me. Keep it real. You also lost a person. That's amazing. 165 pounds. Congratulations. I mean, like, I see those numbers and then my 80, like, I'm proud of my 80, by the way, but my 80 doesn't seem as impressive when I see these numbers. 80 pounds was a lot for me. But yeah, that is really cool. I don't keep it real. I don't know if you're interested. If you would like to have a chat and we could talk about your weight loss and your health gains and what you've done so far, um, shoot me an email. Actually, down in the description, there's a form to fill out. But I'd rather if you shoot me an email since I'm inviting you at contactroadtohealth@gmail.com, because I'd love to do your story if you're open to it. So I feel like there's a conversation. I must have missed the beginning of this going on, that 80% is scientific but not biblical. I hope you understand that I am saying scientifically it is 70% of meat, biblically butter. I'm not really sure I understand that, but I'm just it caught my attention. Sorry. Just look. Let's see. I'm gonna C sharp. Hello. It's even worse. It's food guidance for healthy people. Food guidance for healthy people. Hmm. So what's really, really, really unfortunate is that when you're healthy, the big piece of information that you're given is you can eat whatever you want. You're healthy. That's the whole, but eating whatever you want is what makes you unhealthy. That's like my brand new car is supposed to get the highest octane gas, but it's brand new, so I can put in the cheapest gas. I can even put diesel if I want. Yeah, no, you're going to break your car. And people just need to stop and think about it. If I'm healthy, why would I eat something that potentially would make me unhealthy? Because it's profitable to somebody else. It is. I absolutely agree. Just eat meat, I'll eat meat. Let's see. So carnivore helped me to grow so much in mental toughness and to tackle my head problems head on instead of turning to carbs for momentary pleasure or escape. It's incredible. That's so great. Thank you for sharing that. I definitely think that we think much more clearly when we are when we're eating healthy food. Johnny Midas, hello. I'm just going to skip forward a bit here. Tommy Pichardo. Wow, so true. People will not change their diet until it's a problem to solve. That's exactly what happened to me. I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired and fat. Yes, I was obese. Keto rock star. I definitely agree with you. We have to change this mentality that we only need to change things when we're sick. That we only need to change things when we can't manage anymore. That we only need to change things when it's causing problems in our relationships. That we like. I definitely think that we have been so misled to believe that first of all, we have double-edged sword too. We're supposed to get fat when we get older. That's just what happens. No, that's a lie. But we're told that. So part of it is that we're not even trying to lose weight because we feel defeated before we even start. And it's unfortunate because we can. So I've tried all kinds of replacement foods. And one of the things, and actually I do also have a very keto friendly bread slash dough kind of thing that I do. And the thing is, what I've realized is that, and for sure, if you want to try it out, try it out. I mean, like what the point that I will make is that I don't usually use other YouTubers' versions because often they put spices and other things in it, which I don't put. And I don't want to go back to using spices because I'm actually good with where I am right now. That being said, what I will say is that when I feel like having a sandwich, which is not very often, I'll make this completely carnivore bread out of chicken chicken breasts. What's really cool about it is that once I've had it, I'm good. Same thing, like I have carnivore chaffles, which I used to use them to use with guacamole back when I was guacamole with avocado back when I was still eating avocado. I don't bother anymore because I don't have avocado, but I do feel that these little things that I will have it and then I'll be good. I'll be like, oh, I just wanted to eat a sandwich. So what I was doing was I was using my chicken breast instead of making it chicken breast. Well, I don't normally eat chicken breasts. That's the first part. But I would get some chicken breasts so I could use it in this recipe. I would make some chicken breasts and then I would have it with eggs. So it's kind of like my way of having, a sandwich of egg. But one of the problems that I found with that is that because it's chicken breast instead of chicken thighs, I was usually hungry afterwards. So it just wasn't enough fat. And I've not figured out a way to add more fat to this. So that's on hold for now because I just didn't feel like I was Now, maybe if I would have made it with scrambled eggs, I just thought of the way to do it right now. Scrambled eggs and bacon. Then I could have added the fat in through the bacon. You see, when you talk things out to people, this is why I love my community. Oh, that's linked in the description as well. The community, wellnesssquad.org. I love my community because when I talk things out with you guys, it like helps me to solve things in real time. So thanks for bringing up that carnivore bread because now you just helped me to see that I can probably just make, instead of just having an egg sandwich, have bacon and egg sandwich, scramble the eggs. Now I have enough. Now I have enough. There we go. Thank you. That was very helpful. I'm going to try that and I'm going to get back to you guys whether that worked or not. And if you guys want to see my recipe for and how I do that, let me know in the comments below. It's super simple. Again, if anybody knows me, I like simple. I don't like being in the kitchen for too long. That just like drives me nuts. Super simple. Let's see. So you said, I know I need to heal more, even though my health issues feel gone. This is something important for us to recognize. Our body feeling good does not mean that my healing is complete. And so another thing to think about, and this is, so if I eat something and it becomes incorporated into my body and it takes my body 20 years to turn over, what I need to understand is every time I eat Carbage, I'm I'm adding that thing to my body for somewhere between a few weeks and 20 years. So if it's fat, for example, that's every cell in my body. So now it could be in my digestive tract or in my blood vessels where, sorry, my blood, yeah, my blood vessels where those things turn over weekly or in weeks and months, or it could be like tissue, like muscle or bones or something where those tissues are going to take years, right? So wellness warrior, you need to pay close attention to where you're putting your attention and making sure that you you eat the thing that's going to build the quality of you that you want to build. So please don't be fooled. Don't get pulled into the story where you only you eat for fun because you're like, oh, my body can clean it up. Your body cannot just magically put it in a dustpan and throw it out. It gets incorporated and then it gets recycled at some point. And so we can't be sure that we don't know what percentage gets held onto for how long. And that's the part that I find really scary because those seed oils and the toxins in the fake foods that we eat, man, they are causing havoc in our bodies. I remember watching a video and I think, oh, I don't want to say the wrong doctor's name. Let me take a look at my list here. I have a cheat sheet now for my doctor's names. Is that person on here? I don't even think that person is on here. Um, Dang, I'm gonna find that doctor. But the one doctor was talking about how when you eat the wrong oils, they actually still get incorporated into your cells. And now you have these like little, almost like there's holes. And that doctor was putting forward the idea that, like, for example, the whole leaky gut thing, could it, like, if I remember correctly, is something like your cells are made incorrectly because you're eating the wrong things, then they can't join together properly to block the barrier between us and the world that we eat, right? Is our gut. If you get leaky gut, now things are coming in. And so and he was talking about just like basically cells with the wrong oil are not shaped properly, right? Because it's the wrong oil. It's not connecting up properly with the other oils. So it's the rest of the structure. Those lipids have a structure for a reason. So just things like that that make me really focus my attention on doing what's healthier for me today in my food because I know it's going to have an impact on me long term. So Jay Sharp, Oh yeah, I'm seeing and hearing the benefits with him. I'm slacking and need to do better. Oh, did I miss you before? Oh, here we go. My dad is doing the carnivore diet and telling me about it, about his progress. That's cool, Jay, that your dad is doing something and that you're seeing the benefits. So that's what's hard. If I'm so my dad might have health issues, that's why he starts the diet. And if I jump on board because hey, that looks healthy, I'm gonna do it too. And maybe also to support him, which just makes you a good kid. But then if in the process of supporting dad, because I don't have obvious health issues, I might not notice that I'm getting benefit. So Jay, here's a question for you. In the time that you did carnivore or keto or whatever you're doing, did you notice your energy, any changes in energy? Did you notice any changes in like your ability to think clearly? Maybe did you notice like sleep improvements? One of the things that I find more interesting, and also if you didn't have weight to lose per se, but did you notice that maybe you gained some muscle? That's the other thing I think most men and women don't even notice, that if they actually check that they have more muscle on them because your body's just able to make it, which is really cool. So I question, I feel like we don't question it because we don't know what to look for. Another thing that I'll point out is that like maybe some smaller problems that you might have been living with just disappear. For example, for myself, I don't have tinnitus anymore, and it took me more years to figure that one out. I hadn't noticed it until I was talking to someone who was struggling with their tinnitus. And then I stopped and I realized I don't hear it anymore. And first of all, happy. But second of all, those are the kind of things where it's something bad being removed. And when the thing that's bad is removed, often we don't realize. Like another thing, although this one I did notice, was that my skin got better. Like my dry skin, especially this hand, which had had a problem because of some construction stuff I was working on. I didn't know the chemicals were bad for my whatever. Anyways, and like my dry skin is not as apparent as it was before. And just dry skin in general, I've been working really hard to not need to put cream on every day. And it's getting better. And I feel like I'm seeing the difference that my skin actually is starting to be naturally hydrated, which is so amazing. So all of these things, right, that you just might need to pay more attention to the benefits that you're getting. I wonder if I can think of any more benefits. I have a document. I'm going to just see if I can quickly grab my document of all the different things that healed for me. I like to read this to people once in a while because I think that if we don't like actually pay attention to these things, we're not going to know. So here's some other non-scale victories that I'll tell you about. Um, Obviously, my joint pain going away was huge. That I did notice. I don't have gas and bloating anymore. You see, if I don't look at the list, I won't. I'm not even going to see it. Like that's completely gone. That's one of the best ones I think of. Just like we don't even realize how gassy we are until we're not gassy. Um, Being able to eat real foods and appreciate the taste. So back when I was doing keto, like I used to really think that vegetables tasted bad. And then they actually started tasting good, first of all. But second of all, when I went carnivore, I went all in. So like just salt. I was shocked to learn that I like the taste of meat with just salt. So meat, fish, poultry, eggs. I was even more shocked to learn that I like fish. I've never in the history of being me liked fish. I would eat it on Good Friday because I have no choice. And that would be the one time a year I would have it. I like fish now. I have more energy and stamina for my activities. I can do hard things for longer. And that was apparent to me when we went climbing. So tree to tree climbing the first year that I was keto, where the year before when we went tree to tree climbing, I was having such a struggle to keep up to my, at the time, 9-year old. So no, sorry. Yeah. 8-year old. And then the next year when we went, when she was 9, I was keeping up so good. Like it was crazy how easy it was for me to keep up. And by the following year, when Pat was also eating that way, we were all able to keep up super easy. So it was really nice. Um, I can sit for more than an hour without pain. That's a throw back to my hip problem. My mood stabilized. That was a shocking one. I didn't even know that I was moody until I wasn't moody anymore. That one took me by surprise. A lot of people come to keto and carnivore because they hear about the mental health positives. I didn't know I could think more clearly. That's another one that I could be like, my memory could be better, and that my mood could be, I could just be as chill as I've started to be since being keto. I still get mad. Don't get me wrong. I have a personality and I am me, but like how much more you have to push my buttons to make me angry than before. It's night and day. All my cravings went away, not just chocolate, but all my cravings. And just simple things like now that I'm paying attention, I realize that I do have muscles. Now that I'm paying attention, I realize that I can shop. Well, okay, for shopping, another interesting one is even after losing 80 pounds, I- it took me until this past year was the first time, sometime this past year, in the last few months, where I went to the store to buy clothes and took the medium immediately. I still had it programmed in my head that I was a large or extra large. And this year, so just to tell you that some of these non-scale benefits come later in life because it's that's talking about how do I see me in my own head. And it took a while to change, right? It took a while. Like I definitely feel like I move through the world well in terms of like I don't move through the world like I can't fit through spaces anymore. That came quicker because I think it's just because you could see that you're giving yourself so much distance and you realize, oh, I didn't need all that distance. So that was more obvious for me to correct. But the part that was harder for me to correct is like when I go to buy clothes, like what size shirt am I taking? What size pants am I taking? Like that was a mindset shift that for years I just kept grabbing the same old size and being like, I pick it up, and then my daughter, if she was with me, would be like, "That's way too big," and be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I need a different size." Thank you for dropping in. Keep it real, and I really do appreciate all the conversation that you put. Yep, healthcare loves prescribing medication for anything and everything. They don't ask about your diet. Totally agree with that. They need to ask about our diet. They don't ask about our diet, and that's really problematic. Mandel, hello. Thanks for joining. An apple a day keeps the doctor away was ironically taught to me by my father, a beautiful person who I respect more than any man. His life quality was destroyed by sugar toxic tea procession. So I do think that these little sayings that we have that our families gave us, but they got them from their doctors and they got them from right. So like we have all these little ideas of like what's going to help us to be healthy because we want to be healthy. Can I just point that out? We have these ideas about what's going to help us to be healthy because we want to be healthy. There's no other reason for any of us to do it than the fact that we want to be healthy. So, yes, if I think that this is going to make me healthy, I'm going to give it to my kids. Now, in all fairness, I used to pack my daughter fruits and vegetables in her lunches because I honestly thought that that was helping her to be healthy, right? Until you know you're wrong, you think you're doing the best possible thing. It's not about getting mad at ourselves. It's about making the correction when we know. And so now that you know, it's making that correction and helping yourself to yeah, to do better. Hello, Tony. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. The DASH diet food pyramid is the worst. They recommend 8 servings of grains every day, including bread and cereal. In addition, they recommend 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day, equals sugar spice. The whole thing. So even at that, if I have 10, 10 servings of fruits and vegetables, 8 servings of grains, The best way for me to get that in is going to be processed food if I'm trying to do that. So if you stop and think about what they're encouraging is processed food. Because if I were to try to do all of that, so all those grains, real grains, ancient grains, and have all of that fruit and vegetable, there's no way I'm doing it. But if I drink a V8, I think that's 2 servings and a little teeny one. If I drink a big V8, I got it down in 1, right? Maybe 2. So if I have cereal for breakfast and lunch, because most of us have like 4 servings of cereal when we have a cereal. So it's possible to do if you're eating those appropriate processed foods, right? Which is clearly the goal of these stupid lies that we've been told about what we should be eating or should be eating. What's scary is that they're going to turn and tell you, but don't have any red meat because that's going to cause you to have insulin problems. No, it's not. It really isn't. At Clinic, enjoy the live stream, everyone. Okay, thanks for popping in for a few minutes, Tony. I appreciate that. Napa Day keeps a dentist in business. I love that. Your sugar does rot your teeth. I remember my cousin's children eating candy, and they were like, so lollipops, so the one on the stick, and they were crunching through them and chewing them up. And I was confused. I asked him, why are they eating them that way? And apparently, the dentist told him that if he wants them to, if he's going to give them lollipops, like them sucking on the lollipop long term is worse for their dental health than if they just chew it up and ate it. The point to me, though, is if I chew it up and eat it, yes, it's going to maybe. And I'm going to say maybe, right? Because if I chew it up and eat it, then yes, I might get it out of my mouth faster. But lollipops often, and most candies, when you chew them up, they stick to your teeth regardless. So whether you chew them up or whether you suck on them, you're probably going to end up having like candy in your mouth for a long period of time because it's going to stick to your teeth. But if you chew them up, well, now we just took this lollipop that would have lasted 10 minutes and they were eating like 3-4 of them. So actually, it just gave a way for them to have more junk. So I thought that was really interesting. Jay Sharp, John Carnivore bread. Wow. Okay. Definitely going to research that one and share with my dad. And you said you want a simple, I will definitely think about, I'll try to put together a little video, or maybe it won't even be, I don't even know if it's long enough to make a video. Maybe I can do it as a short, to just share with you that simple recipe for the carnivore bread that I make, because like I said, I don't put any spices and it tastes really good. And you can do it 2 ways. And I'll show you, maybe I'll show you both ways. The healthiest way is the way that I prefer. But yeah. So I have a super chat, I think. Thank you very much. From Super Flutie of Naughtiness. I wake in the morning planning for no carbs. I go to bed realizing I ate lots of carbs. So sad. This is part of the emotional part, Super Flutie, that I was talking about, where we want to do what's good for us. And we want our health to be good, but then we end up in situations where, for whatever reason, we're in front. It's not for whatever reason. We end up in front of junk food, either because we've allowed it into our house. So if I don't control the food, I don't get to decide what's in my house, first of all. But if I do control the food and I allow it into my house, then I struggle with it. I need to take part of that responsibility. Although I do still, if I get a request from the kids to pick up something, I will pick it up. There's much less junk in my house because I don't voluntarily bring something in for the kids, right? And I'm saying kids, they're 19. They have money. They buy their own junk. So there's no getting away from them eating junk. But the big but is that When I'm grocery shopping, if they want me to buy something, they have to specifically make a request. It needs to be on the grocery list. And if it's on the grocery list because I know they're not keto or carnivore, I will pick it up for them since I'm doing groceries. All of that being said, if that junk being in my house would cause me to not manage, it wouldn't be in my house. We go very long stretches of time in here in my place where there's actually no cereal, there's actually no cookies or anything, and there's no ice cream, there's nothing, because I don't buy it, because I don't eat it. And if my daughter doesn't remember to ask me for something, she just doesn't have it here. Again, if she goes to my brother's place, if she goes to my mother's place, if she goes to her friend's place, they all have junk food. If she's out and about and decides to buy herself something, she'll buy herself something. So you need to look at your situation and decide what's going to work for you. Now, if this is happening to you because when you leave your house, you're in front of stuff and you end up eating it, then that's a different story, because you need to be good in your house before you can be good out of your house. And I put that in today's video on purpose. I think most people don't understand that my house having something. So especially if I live with other people, that in my house, there's an ability that junk food comes in and I'm so solid in what I'm doing that I'm not tempted matters is really key for you guys to get. If the only way that you can be solid in what you're eating is that there's never temptation, you're not solid in what you're eating. I went on an all-inclusive vacation. And on that all-inclusive vacation, there was no high-fat meat available at all. It was not an option. I'm talking about lunch and supper. No high-fat meat. Everything was lean. So on that vacation, day one, I had supper, lean meat. Day two, I had breakfast, scrambled eggs. Eggs over easy. Eggs. I had tons of eggs and bacon, loads of bacon. Why? They're high in fat. So I loaded up on my fats in the morning, knowing that, and if there, sometimes they had meats that didn't have spice on them that I grabbed a piece, but they were lean. I loaded up on my fats in the morning because I knew by the evening I was going to need to have. And by the way, on that vacation, I was still keto. Just for context, I was still keto. I had no vegetation while I was on that vacation, being keto. I had eggs, bacon, and a bunch of meat because it was the healthiest thing I could see. Oh, and cheese. I did have cheese. I had lots of cheese, actually. They had some nice selection of cheese. I didn't have any fruit, even though the kids were raving about how sweet and good the fruit is. I didn't have any vegetables. Why? My goal on that vacation was to eat healthy. And when I looked at what the options were, that was those were the healthiest plates that I could make that I wanted to eat. Did I feel like having vegetables? No. Had I felt like having a vegetable, I probably would have had it. But I didn't feel like it. What are you doing, Wellness Warrior? How are you organizing yourself, right? So don't be sad. Learn from what's happening in front of you. Look at how things are set up and then adjust. What's happening that you end up eating the carbs? And not just a few, you're saying you're eating lots of them, right? If you organize yourself in a way that you know what your meals are going to be in advance, are you able to make this happen? Right? And I'm not even sure if you're saying no carbs. Are you actually trying to do carnivore? Because if you can't get through the day without eating on plan, maybe focus on doing keto. Right? Like, you do what makes sense to begin with. Start keto, get yourself solid in doing keto. Again, solid means it doesn't matter where I am, it doesn't matter what's going on, I eat on plan. And then once you have that, then you turn around and you do carnivores. That's your goal. And it doesn't have to be a goal, by the way. I love eating carnivore because I love the idea of only putting the healthy things in my body. Only. I want 20 years from now. I started carnivore February of this year. So I want 20 years from now, in 2044, that I have a brand new body that was built on the cleanest possible food I could give myself. So that's what I'm doing. That's me. If you can get to a really healthy place, so healthier than you are right now, doing keto, and you can sustain it and you can move forward keto, do that. You don't need to be carnivore. What you want is to be living in a body that feels good. What you want is to be able to do your activities. What you want is to feel amazing. And if that means that you're in a body that is eating keto rather than eating carnivore, and if you can get to all those places doing keto, do keto. There's more than one way to do this. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Thank you very much, Garajul Legends, for saying that. I treat my gear like I need it to do my gigs. Whenever I maintain my gear, I'm reminded that I'm the equipment, most important moving part. New mindset. Oh, I love that. So basically what he's saying is that you have gear and you need your gear to do your gig, so you treat it well. I need my body to live my life, so I treat it well. Love that. Exactly. I love it when you guys rephrase me and just nail it. I used to have the sensation of a bug buzzing in my ear. Yeah, that tinnitus thing. I learned that to be learned this a form of, yeah. I also had skin tags. Later found that it was diabetes process. So glad the bug is gone. Mike Jr., hello. Hello, dear. It's been a while. Totally agree with you. People should pick their uncomfortable, which is either to be fat and uncomfortable or healthy, but say no to junk. The choice is easy. Actually, the choice is that there isn't a choice. And I want us to see that too. Because if I say it's a choice, then what I'm saying is being unhealthy is actually a choice. And I don't want you to do that, Wellness Warrior. Not only because we think it's temporary, and that's why we say it's a choice, but because every single day that I'm not living my life in a happy way, in a healthy way, like every single day that I'm not happy because my body's holding me back, is a wasted day. We only get so many days. There's one of those people. I was watching a video the other day, and in the background, the guy had one of those charts that says, my life, and it has like your life. I think it's in weeks or something like that, and there's like a dot that you put for every week that you've lived or something like that. And he had it in the background, and in my mind, I'm looking at that. I'm saying, every single day that I lived from to the age of 23 to 46, where my body was in pain, I could have gotten more out of that day, right? Because my body usually was in pain the day after I did some kind of activity for fun. But imagine if I didn't have to take that day off. I could have either progressed in whatever the thing was that I was doing and gotten better at it, or I could have just done it again, right? Because it was just fun. I would go bike riding or longboarding or whatever the activity, like tree climbing, and have to recover for a day or two. Now, I work I work every day of the week. So it means that I would get a Friday or a Saturday to do something fun. And then I'm recovering, trying to get ready for work on Monday. I couldn't even do something heavily like body taxing on a Sunday unless I know I'm going to go to work and just be in pain on Sunday, on Monday morning. How, like, that is just okay. I stepped away to find carnivore bread videos. I actually have not started the carnivore diet just yet, but plan on get it going forward. I'm only 30, but I have had many health concerns that I feel. Jay, can I encourage you that maybe start with keto and just like slowly get yourself to carnivore, unless you're already doing keto, in which case, yeah, that'd be great. But I think if you're coming from standard diet, trying to go all the way to carnivore, first of all, Sally Norton helped me to understand this idea of oxalate dumping. And I really do believe that the only reason that I didn't have that problem was because I went slowly from standard diet. Well, I didn't go slowly from standard diet to keto. I jumped right in there. I lived the withdrawal of doing that. But I still was bringing in enough vegetation to not have the dumping. Oxalate dumping is identified. But I think that there's other kind of dumping that your body will do, because dumping just means that your body releases from the fat cells, from the whatever it's breaking down, for fat cells or protein or whatever. When it's trying to heal, it's recycling stuff, right? When it breaks it down, those toxins get re-released back into your body, and then your liver and kidneys clean it up, right? But in the process of it being re-released into your body, you feel the repercussions of it getting putting back into your body. So please, Jay, if you are just starting off and you're going from standard diet to carnivore, I encourage you put keto in between. And I would do it for a good number of months before I transition over to carnivore. What I did was I was keto for years, just normal, regular 12, in my case, 18 grams of carbs keto for years. Eventually, I went down to eating just like the bare minimum. I was eating for, I would say, a good year and a half, only olives and avocados. That was all I was having. Occasional salad, but like really occasional. Once every 2 weeks, I'd have a salad. And then in February, I went carnivore, and then I went straight to no spices, just salt, carnivore. I do credit that slow progression to the fact that I don't think I've lived any dumping. So I'm throwing that out there for everyone to think about, because dumping, according to what I learned from, oh, what's her name? I'm going to not remember her name now. One of my first, Holly, my first interview. If you want to check out that video, that was interesting. But she talked about her dumping, and I didn't understand. I really didn't understand her dumping scenario. I get it now, that she had to slow everything down and just back up and let her body heal. She's still eating as healthy as possible, but had to reintroduce some vegetation to help her body heal. And I think that when we skip forward, when we're trying to push and go, it's like, oh wait, carnivore is the answer. That's that we try to jump all the way to the end. We end up putting ourselves in bad situations. And I don't want you guys to be in a bad situation. So please take it slowly. Shouldn't have at my age, knowing I don't eat the healthiest, especially getting those sugar cravings and eating not a lot, but still processed food. I need to do better. Inflammation and weight somewhat. Joint issues, no energy, dry skin, as you mentioned. I will be monitoring everything while starting this. So again, I totally hear you. My daughter being born equaled I was lacking time, and processed foods for my dinners and lunches didn't seem like a big deal, because as long as I cooked for her, and as long as my mom gave her fresh food, and as long as she only ate the healthy stuff, and I put all my time and energy and effort into making sure that she had home cooked meals, and her daycare and her school were able to give her lunches, so that also helped a lot. And her daycare was home, like was real cooked food, so that was really good. Like I was so lucky with my daughter's food scenario that I was I allowed myself to be unlucky with my food scenario, and I just ate Carbage because I thought, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, and my weight was what it was. So it's not like it was what it was. So I wasn't even worrying about that. I was just like, she needs to eat properly and I need to go to work. And that was all I was thinking about. I know better today. By the way, your lenses look very good on you. Thanks for oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I was, I've said this before. I said this when I first started wearing them. I wasn't wearing them because I was worried about the glare off the screen. And like, but I feel like the angle that I have going on right now, it's not glaring from what I can tell. So I'm like, oh, I can wear my glasses. I actually do love these glasses. I feel like they are very, I love the way they look. So one of my favorite things, my glasses, and I do wear contacts occasionally, but whenever I wear them, you can tell because I buy the ones that like have a color tint on them. I haven't worn them in years because lazy. I was like, but I changed my monitor setup, and if for me to be able to read what's going on the screen, I do need my glasses now because it's a bit further away and everything's just adjusted slightly. I have satu fish in butter for a short time. I have sautéed, I think is what you want to say, in butter for a short time to perfection. I add nightshades like tomatoes and hot peppers and olives. I thrive on it. If you have a nightshade sensitivity, I would not. Yeah, I have a nightshade sensitivity, so I definitely do not allow nightshades in my diet whatsoever. Let's see. So you're Caribbean. Oh, thank you for letting me know. Our family's from the Caribbean as well. So we on dairy, nightshades, and meat. Okay. We thrive. We thrive on dairy. Okay. Air fry chicken wings versus deep fry in tallow. Any thoughts? I've been craving wings. I actually always fry in a pan, so I deep fry. Um, my reasoning for that is trying to keep as much as the fat as possible. So adding some tallow fat in to me is better than was when you air fry. I find my fat drips away, and then that annoys me. Now, um, if you're talking about crispiness, I think the air fry will be crispier. So yeah, that's one piece of the puzzle that I don't know the answer to. But if you tallow fry your wings and add a bit of butter, there will be a little bit of crisp to it. I think like the hotter your oil is, the better the crisp, but then you have to really be on it so that you don't burn your stuff, and you'll have to turn it down eventually so it can cook through. But I try to start my chicken too hot just to let the outside crisp up a bit, and then I turn it down and I cook it more slowly. And also, so just trying to do that combination of letting the fat get into it. It can't be too hot or the fat won't get in. But so yeah. So oh, Mando's saying, yeah, you're track your symptoms and check what vegetarians and vegans say the causes are. They all point me to vitamin mineral deficiency. Solve my carnivore. Vegans convince me of carnivore. That's really interesting. I think that they tell us so many things. They're what they're good at doing is taking real science and spinning it in a way that makes you not want to eat meat. But what I've noticed is that if I just look at the science that they're talking about, all it does is encourage me to eat meat too. So I agree with you, Mandel. Mike, being able to stay healthy and having no remorse is the biggest reward one can give to themselves. We want to be healthy and definitely keep garbage out of the mouth, keeps the doctor away. Love that. I saw a dude all up on new food pyramid that moved refined sugar to bad with meat. But yeah, promoted health. Yeah, that was the one. I think that's the one that I put on the screen. I think you're talking about this one. Yeah, like it's all like it's the red meat is right beside sweets. It doesn't make any sense. My husband and kids eat a standard American diet. Okay. So then I just have to have willpower. It's hard sometimes. So, Victoria, I will tell you that if you're trying to do this based on willpower, then the chance that a mistake happens is larger. What we really want to do is focus our attention on the goal we have and how the food we eat accomplishes the goal we have. Because willpower is saying, I want to eat it, but I'm not eating it. Just because I'm not eating it. And I don't have a good reason for not why I'm not eating it. So I'll give you this example, Victoria, because I want you to think about something. If you were put in front of, it doesn't even matter what, I'll even make it something healthy. If you're put in front of a steak and you love steak, but you find out that if you eat that steak, you're going to actually have an allergic reaction, would you eat the steak? And so here's the thing. That's not a fake example. I can't eat red meat because I have thalassemia. When I eat red meat, I actually get sick. Before I even started my carnivore lifestyle, I wasn't eating red meat. Why? Because when I eat it, I feel sick. If we have a good reason not to eat something, we don't eat it. And in the history of being Violet above the age of 22, red meat stopped being part of my meal plan. Now, fast forward to today. If I eat any kind of nightshade, I don't feel good. If I eat carbohydrates above the amount of like 18 grams, I don't feel good. Now, I probably don't even have to eat that much today because I haven't had carbohydrates since February. I probably would be bloated and gassy and all kinds of things if I had some carbohydrates today. So any kind of vegetation. If you allow yourself to look at why you're doing what you're doing, first of all, and then interact with that when this option is in front of you, it stops being an option. I know when I eat red meat, I feel horrible. And there's nothing that could ever taste better than me feeling good. And I also know that I love the taste of chicken. I also know that I love the taste of pork. I also know that I love the taste of fish. And like, there's so many other things I could be eating. I could have eggs. I could have bacon. There's so many other things I could be eating. Why would I eat that? I want you, Victoria. I hope that this is going to help you to look at this a little differently. I'm looking. Okay, so we have a few more questions. Oh, we're moving along today, Wellness Warriors. I'm happy for this. Let's see. I'm looking for more questions or like comments, especially new people. If you want to throw me some questions or comments, that'd be cool. Let's see what Carnivore at 60 says. When I said I did not know I had a choice, I meant that I never heard of the carnivore diet before 14 and a half months ago. When I heard of carnivore diet, I realized there is a choice. Oh, that's nice. I definitely feel like the more people talk about keto and carnivore, the more people are realizing that they exist. My big issue is though people present keto and carnivore as quick fixes. They present keto and carnivore as diets, like I do it for a while and then I can stop doing it. Everybody who touches a keto or carnivore diet, so Jay, this one's for you. Anybody who touches a keto or carnivore diet needs to understand this is forever. It's not advisable to start keto if you're not planning to do it forever for one very simple reason that I'm more than willing to tell you right now. When you start a keto lifestyle, what you're doing is you're saying yes to eating more fat because you're eating less carbohydrate. By the time you get your carbohydrate count down to 20 grams or less per day, you don't have enough energy coming in to fuel you. So now your fat intake needs to be normal. It doesn't need to be excessive. It just needs to be normal, what we should have been doing the entire time. For the average person, that means that you're eating the fat that comes along with the meat, fish, poultry, or eggs that you're eating. That's all you actually need to do. If you do that, chances are you're going to have enough energy, and that's good. And you're going to lose weight, you're going to heal your body, you're going to do all kinds of great things for yourself. Here's the problem. You are also going to allow yourself now to be eating high fat because you're eating low carb. So on the scale, when you were put your foods in any of those food calculators, I don't have my phone near me, but if you put your food you're in the food calculator and you look at the macros, because carbohydrates is at 20, protein and fat are going to be taking up. So carbs will be taking up, let's say, ish about 5%, and protein and fat will be taking up about 70% and 20% respectively, 25% respectively, right? Because of that, Wellness Warrior. And I don't want you to even track that stuff. I'm just saying that that's what it would be if you put it in, because that's not the important thing to track. What's important to track is that you're keeping your carb count low. You want to eat enough fat. So if you're under eating, maybe look at it. And I think for me, that I'm going to check because I can't remember how many grams. I think I was getting like 90 grams of protein, but I cannot remember how many grams of fat that was making for me. Like what it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's something like 165, 170 grams of protein back when that's the way that I was calculating. I don't calculate that way anymore. I'm getting a lot more protein in my diet now. So those numbers are not the right numbers. But my point is, when I allow fat into my life and then I go back to standard diet, I'm not scared of fat anymore. So if you do this as a temporary fix to lose weight and then go back to standard diet where you're no longer afraid of normal fat amounts, well, now you've switched from doing a keto diet, which is low carbohydrate, normal fat, which ends up being high fat, right? To a standard diet where you're doing high carb, high fat, but your fat is really high because you're not choosing the lean cuts of meat anymore. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not shying away from the fat anymore. That's a recipe for sickness. That's a recipe for weight gain. Please do not do that. I'm I'm looking at the time and it's 2:07. I got stuff to do. So I'm going to just zip through and see if I see questions to finish this up or new names. Carnivore at 60 and Gradual Legends and Jay Sharp and keeping it real. I want to thank you guys, Mark Jr., for just coming in and giving me all these great comments to look at. But I just want to make sure that there aren't any actual questions for the, oh, Ralph Reed. This started 2 hours ago. Come on, YouTube, get with it. Oh, did you miss the beginning? I'm sorry that you missed the beginning. But I'm glad that you were able to catch it. And you can put your questions in the comments once you've watched the replay. I'll for sure try to answer you, Ralph Reed. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure that we don't have a question here. I don't want the standard diet anymore. It's not the best. It's not in my best interest. So you were doing standard. Okay, thank you for clarifying. What are some things you wish you'd have known with starting and doing carnivore and keto? So I'm sorry, I didn't put that on the screen. What are some things and keto? So what I wish I would have known before I started was it's the healthy food that you're eating that matter most. If there's one thing that I can tell you, Wellness Warrior, is that did that change? What is happening? Well, if there's one thing that I could tell you, Wellness Warrior, is that the healthy food is the food that matters, that you should be focusing your attention on the most. Because, like, I wish I would have prioritized meat, fish, poultry, egg, because that's real food. I didn't do that because I didn't realize how much the food mattered in what I was trying to accomplish. So how it played out for me is that only so 2 summers ago is when I realized that I was under eating protein. How much stronger could my body have been right now if I would have known that I was under eating protein? How do I know I was under eating protein? Well, because I ate more and my body actually reacted properly. So I ate more and I feel the muscle being built on me. So I'm stronger, and I was eating more and my weight continued to like regulate in terms of like I didn't gain weight. I lost 5 pounds, which is I wasn't looking to lose it, but I lost 5 pounds. And eating more, I've maintained the weight loss. All of that says to me that my body was asking for more food and somehow I wasn't quite understanding it. I think part of the reason I wasn't understanding it is because of the vegetation that I was eating. Again, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, that's real food. I was still letting vegetation in 2 summers ago. And so that's when I went on that vacation where all I ate was eggs and meat. My body and I ate a lot on that vacation. Let me just point out to you, I was not under eating because my breakfasts were like if I was eating that one meal and then I still ended up having my piece of lean meat at supper when everybody else was having their supper. So there was something to that and I understand it now. So that's the one thing I wish I would have known, that meat, fish, poultry, eggs, that's real food. That's what we should be focusing on. Everything else we eat is for fun. That's why I say that so much, Wellness Warrior. I say it so much because I want all of you to understand that's reality. We're eating this other stuff for fun. And our health shouldn't be about fun. Everybody's going to take their decision. Another thing that I wish I would have known is that the 20%, we should only focus on it when we're solid in our food stuff. And our food stuff should be about getting to a easily repeatable meal plan. I don't think that I had a good meal plan at the beginning. I was trying all those keto treats and I was making replacement pasta out of vegetables and I was just doing all kind of things that was taking me away from the bigger goal of being healthy. I didn't know. I thought I was following along and learning as I went. And this is why I'm so happy that there are doctors talking about this stuff now and that I can come and talk about my experience of this stuff, because I think that by you guys knowing what's best practice, you have a chance to do things better than what I did. Keep in mind, Wellness Warrior, that with all my mistakes and all my stumbles and the replacement foods and all the stuff that I was eating, my poor health condition was not as advanced as other people. I still got good enough health that my body was able to focus on weight and get me to my healthy weight in 5 months, versus other people who their health is so damaged that their body is focusing on healing them and cannot focus on weight changes as much as people might want. The third thing that I wish I had known, because I would have talked about it better at the beginning. When your body is slow to lose weight and you're actually eating on plan, first thing to check is whether you're eating the right amounts of the right things. So I'm eating less than 20 grams of carbs. And for my body, if 20 grams of carbs isn't the right number, I might have to take it down. Maybe the right number is going to be 15. In my case, it was 18, but maybe it's 15. At some point, I dropped it to 10 because I didn't even want the possibility of overeating my carbohydrates and stalling my progress. I need to understand, if I'm overeating my carbohydrates, that's the first thing to check. My body won't heal because insulin resistance equals any carbohydrates coming in are causing inflammation. So inflammation and insulin resistance kind of bounce off each other, whatever. But as concepts, if I'm eating 20 grams of carbs, but my body is heavily insulin resistant and 20 grams of carbs is still causing huge rises in insulin for me, my body can't heal. That means I'm also inflamed. That means my body is putting sugar away. My body is doing all these things to protect me. I need to work with my body. Priority one, get the carbohydrates low enough that my sugar isn't constantly jumping every time I eat my vegetables. That might have meant that I don't eat vegetables. There might be some people that have to get more quickly than I did to the part where they're not eating vegetables. But that still doesn't mean I go from eating standard diet to eating just meat. You're going to know when you need to cut back on it because you're for sure going to lose some weight just because you've taken that standard amount of carbohydrate off your plate. I hope that makes sense. So that's the first thing I would check. Am I eating the low enough carbs? If I'm eating low enough carbs and my body is not inflamed and I'm not having that kind of reaction, then the next thing I need to understand is that eating the right amount of protein and fat is what helps my body to heal itself. If I don't do that, if I don't eat the right amount of protein and fat, no matter what I do, my body is still going to struggle to fix me because it needs protein coming in. So quality protein so that it can swap out the carbage I'd been eating for years. My body wants to be healed. It needs the tools to heal itself. It needs lipids, so the fats, animal fat, and protein, the amino acids that it needs to rebuild me with. If I've done those two things, my body will heal itself. When my body is healed, that's when the weight loss is going to be the most sustainable, if that makes sense. My body isn't going to focus on getting me down to my ideal weight if my heart needs repair or my lungs need repair or some internal important organ, my brain needs repair. If something needs repair, whether I weigh 190 or 120, well, that's probably too low, but 190 or whatever, like the healthy weight isn't the point. My body isn't caring about that because it wants to fix my heart. So the order of operations is get healthy, and then your body will regulate your weight. If you try to flip that around, you're not doing yourself any favors. A healthy body always regulates its weight. And the healthier you can get, the better your body will regulate your weight. That's why when I started to eat even more healthy, my body took my weight down another 5 pounds. I allowed that 5 pounds to stay this time. I didn't fight it. Whereas the first time when I got down to my 10 pounds under the weight that I was living at for the last 5 years, it didn't feel good. I put weight back on purpose. This decrease in weight felt right. It felt okay. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel like I looked sick, I should say. And so I let myself stay there. So I hope that helps you, Jay. Those are the things I wish I knew because I totally would have done this differently. You lost 45 pounds. I was 245 and now not 195. Okay. Eating keto and diet. And the thing that confused me is I did not work out other than my casual walking. I was so mindful. So the fact that we don't need a calorie deficit, Jay, that's the other thing. Thank you for reminding me about that, original legends. We don't need a calorie deficit in order to do a healthy, to do keto or carnivore properly. As a matter of fact, on keto and carnivore, in most of my periods of time, like I had a period of time in keto where I was technically, I would say, yes, I was in a calorie deficit because of what I was eating. And I would just not be hungry and I'd be just I don't feel like eating anymore. But I didn't put a calorie deficit amount on my plate. I would just eat and be like, I don't want anymore. Question is, why was that happening? And this is where it frustrates me because they try to say, oh, keto works because you're in a calorie deficit. That's not why it works. But if you're doing keto properly, there could be periods of time where you find yourself in a calorie deficit. Why? I did two things for myself that I'm going to share with you because this is something else. I hope you're writing this stuff down that you can do. When I started to understand why keto was working, and it was before I lost weight, all the weight, I started to allow myself to only eat my meals meat to veg. What that means for me is that I had to finish the meat before I finish my veg. Because if I was going to leave anything on the plate, I was supposed to leave veg because I understood that the veg is on my plate for fun. Because of that, I was always feeding my body what it was asking for, the meat and the fat. So the protein and the fat that it was asking for. And the reason that I think that was really monumental in my ability to not to end up in a calorie deficit, even though I wasn't in a calorie deficit. So I'm going to tell you this. I think that when you eat properly on a keto diet, because your body has absolutely the ability to tap into the fat that's on board, it needs you to go and get those amino acids. So when you're hungry, it's trying to get those amino acids to come in. And I was eating meat. At this point, by the way, I was eating normal cuts of meat. I wasn't adding extra fat to my meals yet. So this is just normal cuts of meat, eating normally. So what happens? My body, I would eat, and then because my body can take some fat from me, I never felt like finishing my veg. So yeah, so I would, and I was still at that moment in time having normal size proteins, which is where that 90 grams of protein came in. And that's what I was eating. Fast forward to today, well, not even to today, fast forward to when my weight regulated. Now I was overeating often. So when I got to my goal weight, my if I actually when I was tracking everything, I was only looking at my carb count ever. Remember this. But when I went back, when I started to make videos and talking to people, and they were talking about calorie deficits, and I went back to check because I did log everything, and I looked at my calorie count from the time that I was at goal weight, like just about a month after that, my intake of food ramped up, and I was often over 2,000 calories. Like I would hover anywhere between 1,800 calories and 2,300 calories per meal per day. And I was doing, even back then, I was doing one meal a day. So we don't need the calorie deficit. And I think that I wish I would have known that and understood that better so that at the beginning of my journey of talking about this to wellness warriors, I could have explained it better. So that's one of the things I wish I would have known and done differently. Oh, hello, the Baroness of Beef. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. 3.5 months ketovore, lost 42 pounds so far, still got a lot to go. Thanks for the videos. Yeah, I definitely think that people doing keto and carnivore, like we just have such ability to lose weight if we are on track with what we're trying to do, if we're not forcing ourselves, if we're not trying to trick our body. Like I feel like sometimes we try to add fasting, add this, add, and it makes us make mistakes. We end up eating off plan or we end up doing the wrong thing. And it's just not good. So I definitely feel that I'm happy that you're getting benefit out of my videos, Ralph. And I definitely encourage everybody, take your time, learn how to do what you're doing, and just be steady in what you're doing. I'm just looking at the time. It's 1:44. Okay. So I'm gonna try to just do like I really, you're more than welcome, Jay. I hope that I hear from you every Monday. I'm here at 11:20, Wellness Warriors. So come back next Monday. I'm trying to have another topic for you guys. So 11:20 Eastern. You figure out what time that is for your time zone. Always listen to your body. It will guide you to what works for you. I saw that I had to click on it because that is absolutely true. Your body wants you to be healthy. And because your body wants you to be healthy, it is absolutely going to use the quality of food that you give it to do what it's doing. If you give it good quality food, it's going to give you a good quality body. If you give it junk food, it's going to give you junk. That food pyramid that they have us looking at doesn't make any sense, Wellness Warrior. I want you to ignore it. Meat, fish, poultry, eggs, that is real food. Everything else that we ingest is for fun. You check out the video about diabetes that I have linked below and in the card. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys again next week.